All right, let's get it. This is Nap Knows Buffalo, and we are a Casey-less show. Again, he quit after the Bills lost. He said this is just too much for him. He can't handle it. He can't handle the stress of a team that loses twice in the first 6 games. So he's done. He's out. He will never be back on the show ever again, not even next week or the week after. He's quit. He's been fired. Everything. Casey's done for. Just absolutely done for.
Yeah.
Now life got in the way, so he could not make it.
Yeah.
He'll be back next week. So we're rolling me and Manny this week. And unfortunately, we do have to talk about a heartbreaking loss. 34-31. The Bills lost to the Tennessee Titans on Monday Night Football. Manny, let's just, before we do our things we like, things we didn't like, what are just your general thoughts after the game? What were your general thoughts after the game?
Honestly, I thought the offense played well. The defense was suspect at times. Key guys were suspect, I would say, more than the whole defense. I thought some defensive players actually played well, and then there were some that I just didn't notice at all. So it was one of those games I got smashed in the mouth, straight in the mouth. So, but you know what? I'm not worried because we were 4-2 last year going into the same thing against Titans and Chiefs. And so I'm not worried, but it was a heartbreaking loss to lose by a slip.
Yeah, it's especially tough when I know for a fact the Bills are a better football team when they play their best football than the Tennessee Titans are. And they just, plain and simple, the Bills just didn't play their best football. They didn't deserve to win the game the way they played, especially in the second half. The way they played and we'll get into like the red zone, all of that. Like, they had a chance to win, and people aren't going to like me saying this, but at the end of the game, I walked away thinking, like, damn, the Bills really didn't actually deserve to win that one. Like, this was a deserving loss. The way the game played out, the way it looked like the fight was. Like, the Titans looked like they just had more fight in them, especially after halftime. So, as much as I know the Bills are a better team, I get why they lost. Like, it makes sense, unfortunately.
Yeah, they looked hungry. Like, the Titans came out. They wanted to send a message. Like, everybody's talking about the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Bills, and Titans are like, hey, we've been in the playoffs too. What about us? And that was one of the what about us games. And, Brown, and as much as I, again, smashed in the mouth, especially Brown had a big impact on that game, as much as I'd like not to admit that. But so I think
he killed the Bills.
Yeah, and so it is what it is.
Yeah, look, losses are going to happen. There's only been one ever perfect season. There's been 2 perfect regular seasons. It's just like you're going to lose in the NFL.
Yeah.
And when you play teams that are good, that sometimes like maybe the Bills just don't match up very well with the Titans. I don't think that should be the case, but that might be the case. Sometimes you just run into teams that you don't match up well with, or that they take things to heart more. I don't know what it is, but you lose in the NFL. Look, it's okay. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah, and that's what my message has been. It's not the end of the world. Look, we struggled a little bit in both sides of the ball in certain areas, and we still were 2 yards away from winning that game. Even if like we didn't deserve to win it, and we still could have won it. And so that shows how good the Bills actually are. And if you played the Titans 10 times, 9 out of 10 times, the Bills probably would have won that game. And this was that one time.
I think it's probably maybe not 9 out of 10. I think the Titans are a better team than you're giving them credit for in there. But I know what you mean by that. The Bills should beat the Titans more often than not.
And they had a chance.
But the Titans have had the Bills number the last 2 years in and I'm not necessarily similar circumstance, but in a circumstance where like the Bills should have won both games, but the Titans just had that extra fight in them. So let's get into this. Likes, dislikes, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Let's do our likes first, because let's start on a positive note.
Yeah.
What is the thing that you liked the best about the game?
The two things I liked was even though they probably played a okay game, the team did not give up. You could tell they were still they were trying hard, and there was no like letdown or players like giving up or anything like that. Especially with Josh Allen. Josh Allen gave it his all. Like, if there was a reason why we were 2 yards away from winning that game, it was Josh Allen. He brought his A game, and I thought he was fantastic all game. The red zone, yes, and we'll talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, Allen brought everything, and he took that team on his shoulders and tried his damn hardest to win that game. And the other one, as much as a lot of people were saying to go for the field goal, I thought it was a great call. Maybe not the best play per se, in my view, but I think it was the right call. You're a good team. You gotta, sooner or later, you gotta tell your players, I have confidence in you. I have faith in you. I believe in you. We ride or die with you. And that's basically what they did. Harbaugh did it with the Ravens with Lamar Jackson, and they won. And in this case, by chance, Allen slipped, and we lost. So,
yeah, I love that call too. I think anybody who wanted the Bills to kick a field goal is an absolute square, because the Titans, if the Titans got the ball first in overtime, the game's over. The way the defense was playing, I have all the belief in the world in the Bills. But there's also like momentum, and the way the Titans play football, it does wear you down, and you have to respect Derrick Henry, and then you also have to respect their passing game as much as people don't want to, and it's a really hard balancing act. And the Bills obviously were focusing more on trying to respect Derrick Henry, which was leaving the middle of the field open for the passing game and A.J. Brown and all that. So kicking the field goal, in my opinion, was never an option there. No. It should never have even been a thought. I think we should stick on the play call for a second, even though we're talking about our likes.
Yeah.
Because I don't necessarily want to put it directly in my dislikes, because 9 out of 10 times that is the right play call.
Yeah, yeah.
All the stats have shown that Josh Allen is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL at converting 4th and 1. If he's the one who's taking the ball, he's going to get there. It's like 12 of 13 or 13 of 14 QB sneaks.
Yeah.
Like, the numbers are insane. That being said, leading into that play, what I would have loved to have seen happen is, first and foremost, I didn't actually want a QB sneak play call there, because the Bills' offensive line was they weren't getting push. They were getting beaten up at the point of attack. They were doing the opposite of what they needed to do there. So that made me nervous. Despite Josh Allen being a great QB sneak quarterback, that made me nervous right from the jump. I would have loved to see Sean McDermott just take a timeout and let them regroup. I know there is like an idea of maybe, since you have them on their heels, you just roll with it.
Yeah.
But that might not have been a bad time to take a timeout and consider what you're doing. I think what I would have gone with, and people are going to say this is a hindsight 2020 thing, it's not, because this is what I was thinking in the moment. Would have much rather seen Josh Allen in the shotgun, spread him out wide, let him choose if he's going to make the play with his legs or his arm, because I think that's really difficult to defend. It is all technically hindsight 2020 saying, oh, well, maybe that play call wasn't the best, or maybe Josh Allen should have gone off the right side, or he should have just followed the center, which he should have, but it happens.
Yeah.
All that being said, I still love that the Bills went for it, and had they kicked it, I would have been more upset with that decision, because I think that would have been a soft decision, that wouldn't have been a process-driven decision, that wouldn't have been a decision that's a winning football decision.
Yeah, that's old school.
Yeah,
that's old school.
When you believe in your team, when you believe in your quarterback, and McDermott said it 10 times out of 10, he's going to ride with Josh Allen. Yeah. If you believe in your team like that, you go for it. You go for the win. You don't play for a tie. You don't play for overtime. You play to win the game, as Herm Edwards says. So Yeah, I like that. I think the thing that sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I totally agree with you. My thought processes was get him in the shotgun, maybe have some people, running through the line of scrimmage, like receivers, just to move, have some movement around, and then let him decide if it's the feet or the arm. And I totally agree with you. I know we don't agree on much, but that I totally agree with you.
No, but either way, look, if that's the play call they're going to go with,
Yeah.
let's say they call the timeout and they still decide that's the best
Yeah.
play call,
Yeah.
then so be it.
Yeah.
It's just sometimes the execution isn't there, and Josh Allen slipped. The line got blown up. Like it was a great play by the defensive line to get in there. Jeffrey Simmons absolutely blew that play up. I don't even know if Josh gets the first down. If he goes the same way he did and doesn't slip, I don't know if he gets the first down because of how fast Jeffrey Simmons got in there. So all that being said, still loved the play call and the aggressiveness to go for it there. The thing I wanted to talk about, the thing that I loved was the fact that all of the Bills' top wide receivers had a big impact in the game. Nobody went over 100 yards, and that's fine, but Emmanuel Sanders, 5 catches, 91 yards. Stephon Diggs, 9 catches, 89 yards. Cole Beasley, 7 catches, and apparently I didn't write down the yardage, but I think it was in like the high 70s or the low 80s.
Yeah.
Mistake on my part, my bad. But that being said, like all of the wide receivers had a big impact. It didn't matter who Josh was throwing to. You felt confident when the ball was in the air 99% of the time because he kept going back to his main guys. Kept going back to all reliable, which is crazy that the Bills have 3 guys, and you could argue that there's 4 with Dawson Knox now, that are all reliable for the offense. So I love that they were able to get that sort of production out of those guys, and you should when you go up against defense that had as many corners that were out as the Titans did. So the fact that the Bills offense was able to go out there and do what they're supposed to do through the air like that, I like that. Let's transition to the dislikes, which is not as fun of a topic.
No.
But we got to do it. We have to do it. And there's definitely some things that we can harp on here. So I'll let you go first with yours.
I got 2. The run defense, which was obvious. We couldn't stop Henry. And the other one is the red zone offense. I don't know why for such a high-scoring offense, and we just can't seem to figure out this year the red zone game. I don't know what is going on there. I wonder. I started wondering if it has to do with Allen not running as much in the red zone, which is
I don't know. I think I'm a Brian Dable defender. I think Brian Dable is a great offensive coordinator. I think the play calling in the red zone has been weird.
Yeah,
I haven't had anything really bad to say about the play calling before you get to the red zone because I think that's been superb. But once he gets into the red zone, for some reason, he loves to run the football.
Yeah.
And I like that the Bills are willing to do that, but it's almost like he's trying to force them to be a ground and pound team in the red zone when that's not who they are.
No, they are.
That goes against the whole be a situationally good running team.
Yeah.
Be an efficient running team. Don't force it. And it felt like in those red zone trips, the passing game wasn't on in the red zone. Not going to say anything about that. But it felt like there was like the first couple drives, it was just like, okay, why did we run the ball on 2nd and long with Zach Moss? Why are we doing that? I think Zach Moss is a good running back. But why are we doing that? That's not what got the team here. Let's pick a better time to do that. And I don't think Dable's really picked his moments in the red zone, which also, on the topic of Dable, prayers up to his family, him and his family.
Yeah.
As ESPN said, they found out on the way to the game or on the way to Tennessee that he had lost his grandfather, which he had just lost his grandmother a couple of weeks ago, I believe.
Yeah.
So, prayers up for him and his family, thoughts and prayers.
Yeah.
But, the play calling seemed a little bit odd. And I don't know. That might just be something that he's working through with him and Josh Allen and what do we want to do as an offense type of thing. I don't know.
Also, I found Allen missed a couple of open plays. Like there was one with Emmanuel Sanders and one with Beasley in the end zone that he completely just missed.
Rolling to his left, which is harder, admittedly harder.
Yeah. So that was one. I thought I thought that play with Knox running it in, but got called back. So there are some plays that where you're like, yeah, that makes sense. Some you're like, yeah, I don't know. That's I think the problem where you're just last year it was just like they were getting in no matter what. This year it's been a little bit of like,
it's been a big difference
in
the red zone. They're still scoring points in the red zone too, so it's hard to be extremely frustrated with it because the offense has been so good. But also, I think that's the main area when everyone's like, oh, but they could have been better. It's like, because they're not scoring touchdowns in the red zone the way they should. When they start doing that, it's going to look a lot better.
Yeah, and they scored a lot of points. Like they scored 30-plus points again. And so the offense, I don't think was the problem. I think part of the issue, like the red zone was an issue. But like I thought because of the defense playing below par, I think that had a lot to do with them trying to, I think the team fell flat when Henry ran his 76-yarder. The whole team, offensively and defensively,
it just took a lot out of the defense, I think. But at the same time, great defenses recover from that, and the Bills didn't like. They were able to. They got a stop after that touchdown, so it's not like it took everything out.
Yeah,
I think I really do think that the defense just got absolutely worn down by Tennessee's style of play.
Yeah,
and it's unfortunate, but I think that's what happened. Yeah.
So. Yeah, I think those were my two dislikes was the run defense and the red zone offense. So.
All right, I had the red zone offense listed. I will say the offensive line was a dislike for me.
Yeah, that's part of
they weren't able to get the running game going at all against a Tennessee defense that they've been susceptible to. Like you've been able to get rushing yards against them. Other teams have done it. The Bills should have been able to find a way to do it. And I don't know, maybe they just didn't really ever get into that groove because they decided this is a passing game, and so be it if that's the case. But the yards per carry, just not there this week. It just wasn't there. It wasn't the offensive line's best game. It didn't look great on the interior. It looked really, really bad on the right side of the offensive line. This was by far Spencer Brown's worst game as a starter, which this is the stuff that you have to deal with. When you play a rookie, when you play a guy who doesn't have a whole lot of game experience, especially at a high level like this, these are the types of games that you got to deal with. Yeah. He got exposed. He looked like a rookie. He looked like he didn't really belong in that game when it came to passing downs. He struggled a lot on passing downs. And that's just what he's going to have to learn from that. The good players are going to learn from that. I think he's the type of guy who's going to take a lot out of that game.
Yeah.
But he didn't look good. He stood out for all the wrong I will say in the first half, he didn't look all that bad. He had a couple of really big blocks, but in the second half, he stood out, I think, for all the wrong reasons, unfortunately, which is going to happen. It's going to happen.
I agree. I think he was facing Bud Dupree most of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And that was Bud Dupree's
he was having a good game.
I thought that was Bud Dupree's. I could be wrong, but I thought that was Bud. He wasn't there. This was his first game back.
It might have. I honestly don't know that, so I'm not going to say yes or no there.
He's a game changer too. Like Bud Dupree's been a game changer all his career, and I think he had a pretty good game. Like
it is always easier to admit someone's a game changer after the game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that offensive line is one of mine. I have second half defense because I don't think the defense was actually that bad in the first half. The Titans put up points in the first half. They got their points, but the second half defense, the Bills let them score on every single drive.
Yeah.
So you're not playing winning football when that happens, and I think that lends itself to the Titans offense, the way they play, it wears you down. That's the reason why on that last drive, like if you're playing for the run, because Derrick Henry is the type of running back where you have to respect him every single play, you got to respect the run. And then it ends up being that your defense is out of position when they decide, oh, no, we're not running the ball. We're going to pass the ball. So you end up seeing guys like Derrick Henry have a couple of nice runs in the second half. Obviously, he had his big run the first half, and we don't have to talk about everything that went in on that one. That was because I'm not blaming the refs for it. Like, yes, there were some missed calls there.
Yeah.
Yes, you could say the refs blew some calls for the Bills. You could say the refs blew some calls for the Titans. I really don't care. Yeah. I'm not in the business of blaming the refs. I will complain about it in the moment, but the refs are not the reason that the Bills lost that game. The Bills did not play well enough. And the second half defense was a major reason why, because they just could not stop anyone. Ryan Tannehill went 9 for 9 in the fourth quarter. You don't stop teams when the quarterback does not have an incompletion. It just doesn't work. So that's where I'm at.
I agree with you. I think also like that 76-yard run also, I think maybe changed Fraser's game plan on defense, and it looked like the linebackers were more in the box than they were maybe not in the box earlier, and
potentially
it led to more open passing plays with Brown and all those receivers.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're a good second half team, and it's because of stuff like that. So that's something that the Bills are going to, if the Bills run into the Titans again in the playoffs, because it is entirely possible. Both of these teams are playoff teams.
Yeah.
If the Bills run into them in the playoffs, that's something they're going to have to figure out.
Yeah.
Leslie Frazier, Sean McDermott, they're going to have to get together and find a way to not let the second half defense be an issue like that again. So
can I add one more
dislike. Yeah, go ahead.
Dislike. This was that ref crew. Like, I don't blame them because, you know, like I said earlier, the Bills had so many chances to win this game. The fourth down at the end of the play, 2 touchdowns getting called back. They all had their chance. But, man, that reffing crew took forever to decide on penalties.
I agree with that. It was another one of those games where the reffing crew seemed to make it about themselves, except for this time it's not because they were throwing too many flags. No. It was because every time they threw a flag, they were like, let me have a conversation. I tweeted this out too. I was like, look, it's like the times they're having conversations, they weren't even having conversations about difficult calls. It was always like, okay, maybe they're just catching up about their families. Because it was like, okay, it's a holding call. Obviously, we saw it was a holding call.
It took forever.
Hands to the face. Okay. And I don't know. I don't like when the refs do that, because it felt like they inserted themselves into the game in a weird way, because it wasn't like they inserted themselves in the game too often. It was for too long.
The broadcast, you know, like, I'm not a big fan of it. Majority of the broadcast crews, other than maybe Romo and stuff. But, like, they were getting frustrated on why the refs were taking long. So they're usually on the ref's side. And this game, the guy, the special, I can't remember who the officiating or the rule guru is, analyst for them, but he kept on coming on. He just was like,
oh yeah, he was not happy.
He was not happy with that. So that's my bonus dislike of the game.
Yeah, that one works. All right, your winners of the week. Who is your winner of the week?
Okay, so obviously I've been talking about Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen's still a winner. You know, he got a touchdown call back from Knox. He put his body out and trying to get that first down. He, you know, they scored. We came back. He brought us down to the 2-yard line. Unfortunately, things happened and it didn't work out. But I thought overall he played a really good game. And I think it just showed to me that this guy is Buffalo. He is the Bills. He is the guy. There is no other guy. The other guy, real quick on Josh
Allen. Yeah. I think if you take away that second to last drive that the Bills had, where they ended up going 3 and out and he took 2 deep shots.
Yeah.
If you take that away, every single drive outside of that you could find some sort of a positive from.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That drive was bad. That was a really bad decision making drive. But every other drive was
Yeah,
you could find a positive, whether it's that they moved the ball, that they scored touchdowns, that he looked
yeah,
whatever, that he made an insane throw.
yeah,
And then obviously the drive at the end of the game, that shows he's the guy to lead this team.
yeah,
He's the guy for the moment. And
yeah.
this moment, sometimes it just doesn't work out. But
Workout. Yeah,
he was the guy to make the plays because
yeah,
he made all of them except for just that final last slip, obviously.
yeah.
So yeah,
But yeah,
your next one though.
like I said though, even though it slipped up, right? We had so many chances to win that game. The
Yeah.
kickoff return, the 2 for 5
The
red
chances were
zone.
there.
The chances were there, right? Even
Yeah.
though they smashed us, we still had a chance to win that game, and
Yeah.
that's what I think fans should always think about. The other guy I thought who in the defense, the one guy I thought in the defense that had a really good game was Tremaine Edmonds. I thought
He was, yeah.
there were some hits he made on Henry where Henry did not move. And I was like, you gotta be one strong dude to make Henry stop right there in his tracks with a hit. He was all over. He tried his best to get to Henry, and when he did, he made sure he introduced himself to Derrick Henry. I thought he was good on the coverage when he had to be. He was, in defense, I look for a guy who's noticeable.
Mm-hmm.
The last couple of weeks, it was Teron Johnson. I always noticed him. He was up, down, everywhere. And he was having a great game. This was the game that, to me, was showing that Edmonds can be that middle linebacker that we're all hoping to be. And I think he still is growing into that position, and I think he's getting better and better each week this year.
I think the thing that stood out to me, not necessarily the entire game itself, it was the fact that he was just like he was stopping Derrick Henry in his tracks. And there was a specific person, I believe it was the sports bully, that I don't remember what group he's with, but it was sports bully. He was the one before the season saying that Tremaine Edmonds is not a good linebacker because he doesn't ever hit anyone hard.
Oh.
He can't make the big hit. He's soft, all of these things. And then he goes up against the number one running back in the NFL, the biggest running back in the NFL, the running back who has a size advantage over just about everyone. And there was multiple plays where the crew actually stopped and replayed Tremaine Edmonds' hit on him because he stopped Derrick Henry where he was at. There's multiple plays where that happened. You could not even just like you could see him stop, but you could hear it. It was louder than every other hit.
Yeah.
I don't like the idea that Tremaine Edmonds can't hit somebody hard.
No,
I've never liked that idea.
Yeah,
I thought that idea was kind of BS from the start, and it was nitpicking a couple of open field tackles that whatever could go either way, where you're probably better off breaking down and making the tackle. I said that when I interacted with him on those posts over the summer.
Yeah.
And I thought this was just another game where Tremaine Edmonds showed, oh yeah, no, I can actually hit someone. I can rock someone. Yeah, and he did it to the biggest back in the league. So I loved seeing that. I thought
that was one of, I think, for sure this year's best game from him. But he was noticeable. That was my thing. Like he was noticeable. And on defense, that's like, that's for me is usually key. That if I can notice him in plays, that means he's having a pretty good game.
I don't know if I would go as far as to say this was his best game because the run defense was definitely not the best. And there were some issues there. But I think this was his most notable in terms of those big impact hits, I will say. He's had them throughout the season, but this one was the time where like he had a ton of them in the game where it was like over and over and over again. Every time at the point of contact, he was the one who was initiating the hit, not taking the hit and making the tackle, which I will say is fair. He does do that sometimes, but I would lend that more towards he's breaking down to make the tackle.
I thought he could, like, he was there, right? Like that's what I mean. Like obviously the run defense wasn't that good overall, but I think he was the key to make it not even worse than what it was. right? Like
Yeah,
he was the one guy
that's fair.
who played his heart out in that game. I thought.
Yeah. All right. My winners of the week. First winner of the week is free football. I mean, the Bills game obviously didn't go to overtime. I'm glad it didn't go to overtime.
Yeah,
But Carolina, Minnesota went to overtime. Dallas and New England went to overtime. Pittsburgh and Seattle went to overtime. And not only did they go to overtime and just end up in like a boring missed field goal, end of game field goal type of kick, there was a lot of excitement in those overtimes. Two of them were won on game winning touchdowns still.
yeah,
And then one of them had that big play by TJ Watt. Like that, I thought all three of those games, extra time on the clock, ended up being a great thing for the game to make the game even better. Sometimes you can have overtime in free football that's like cool, but it's an ugly game. It's just like let's just get somebody to win the game and get out of here.
yeah.
Those were the types of games where they ended up being really good games and exciting overtime. So I love that. My number one winner of the week, though, is Aaron Rodgers, because Aaron Rodgers proclaimed to the world what everybody already knew, but he did it directly to the fan base in their stadium. I love the quote, I've owned you all my effing life. I own you. I still own you, directly to the fans after he scores a touchdown. Like we as Bills fans, we know what it's like to have a quarterback who owns you as a team. Tom Brady did.
Yeah.
So we can relate to how Bears fans have to feel and the hatred they have to have for Aaron Rodgers. But at the same time, you're Aaron Rodgers. You got to feel great about yourself in that moment.
Yeah.
You look up into the stands and you see multiple people flicking you off, giving you the middle finger, probably screaming a bunch of horrible things at you because you just scored a touchdown on their favorite team. And you just come up with that. Like, yeah, no, look, you guys could be mad, but I own you and I've owned you my entire life. You have whatever thoughts you want about him. I don't care. That's an incredible line. And I will add this on. We have a quarterback in Josh Allen who he is on track to potentially be able to say that a couple years down the road to multiple teams within the division, because as of right now, he has owned Miami. We need more wins, obviously, against the Jets to be able to get to that point. But, like, there is no reason why we couldn't get to a point someday where Josh Allen is doing the same thing.
Yeah.
But Aaron Rodgers is my winner of the week for that. Manny, I almost do I want to go? I want to go first for loser of the week. And actually, you know what? I will have Casey go first for loser of the week. He's not here, but he did send in a loser of the week. So I have something to play for this. I have to make sure that I play the audio because it's too good not to play. So this is Casey's loser of the week. Let me make sure the audio's up.
Yeah. All right. Your offensive game changer for the Titans. Who do the Bills have to pay attention to the most on the Titans? Manny, go ahead.
No one? Can I say that?
It's a little arrogant. Like, I don't want to. I think that's very arrogant. That's a little arrogant. Extremely arrogant.
So as you can hear, I think Casey's loser of the week, I think he's saying is Manny for just completely overlooking the Titans. And we can make light of that now.
Yeah.
And we were shocked in the moment too. But yeah, Manny, I mean, give us your thoughts on why you went that far before the game. Were you? I mean, like,
look,
to say no one and then have them just do what they did is a tough look, Manny.
Look, it is a tough look, and I had to apologize for the look. I admit it. I got smashed in my mouth. You know, like, I'm usually a very, like, realistic fan, I call myself. I'm not really a homer. I call it how it is. If I see something wrong, I say it. But for some odd reason, my cockiness came out. And I thought this was that game that I think was going to, like, we were going to annihilate them, send a message, just like we did to Kansas City last week. We were going to come here, revenge tour. And, so, like, a part of me that's not usually me came inside of me and brought that up.
All right, keep moving.
But I got smashed right in the face by Derrick Henry and AJ Brown. Yeah, I take it in stride.
Man, your word choice is incredible. All right, my actual loser of the week, though, I do have a couple. I have two of them that I want to get to. My first loser of the week is Chris Broussard. I think everybody saw the clip. I'm going to play the clip again. I mean, I have to play the clip, but
because of the pressure of Tennessee. I wonder why. Could it be because Buffalo's Pro Bowl left tackle Taylor Lewan was injured? If he's there, maybe that doesn't happen, but he's out. So you got a second stringer that Josh Allen's trying to go behind, and you see he got destroyed. Dawkins, whoever that is. All right, so that's the problem. You're not good in the red zone overall. Happened on the play. Yes.
So this is my problem with the national media is that they give guys like Chris Broussard an opportunity to talk about sports that they don't pay attention to. He is a basketball guy through and through, and that's what he's best at. But even in his own sport, he still does stuff like that where he just completely messes things up. He says somebody who's extremely obviously not on one team on the other team, and he just sticks his foot in his mouth all the time when he talks, and he still gets opportunities over and over and over again to do that, which is why I just avoid FS1 completely. I think it's one of the more it's the lower level of the national media. They're like the C team, if you want to say that. Like, sure, I'm sure they probably have good ratings. Cool, they're a national media. The guys on there get paid a lot because they're entertaining. But if you want actual commentary on the team that you're paying attention to or whatever, if you like, the people that you care or should care about are the people who are within the community around the team. Those are the guys who you should actually be paying attention to. I'm not even trying to say that as like a make sure you're paying attention to us type of thing. That's more like a whatever local commenter or outlet you want to pay attention to. I guarantee you they know more about like the ins and outs and the players of the Bills or whatever other team you're rooting for than the national media guys do. They might have some scoops on like what's going to happen with the team. They might be they're definitely a more well-known name, but you're going to see stuff like that all the time. Like Chris Broussard does it. Stephen A. Smith does it. There's like Nick Wright, obviously. We all know Buffalo's relationship with Nick Wright, but in a moment like that where Deion Dawkins is one of the 10 best left tackles in the league, and you don't even know who he is. You don't know that he's been the Bills starter for the last, was it 4 or 5 years now? Yeah. However long he's been in Buffalo, and you think he's a second stringer when he just got paid a massive contract last year. And not to mention everything that happened with Taylor Lewan, prayers up to him and his family. Like, it sounds like he's going to be okay, which is awesome. I know a lot of people don't like him. I really don't care about that. I'm glad to hear he's okay. But like everything that happened with him in the game, who in the world thinks he's on Buffalo? Who thinks he's on Buffalo? With everything that he's done, said in the past, he's very clearly a Tennessee Titan. Like, you have to be an idiot to think that. And Chris Broussard just continuously does stuff like this. Just avoid FS1 completely. It's the easiest way to not have to deal with all of the BS that comes out of there. So he's my loser of the week. My other one is anybody who said that Sam Darnold was such a great quarterback after not being on the Jets, and that it was the Jets and not Sam Darnold because he went 3-0 at the beginning of the year. No, Sam Darnold is just not a good quarterback. Yes, he had a good start to the season. It was cool to see that happen. It was cool to look at all of his numbers pre and post leaving the Jets and all of that. But when he actually plays against teams that are good, when he plays against good competition, Sam Darnold is Sam Darnold. He is what he has always been. He's a worse version of himself when he's on the Jets. But when he's not on the Jets, he is not a long-term starting NFL quarterback. I have always said that. I will stand by that. Anybody who thinks that Sam Darnold it was going to be incredible after leaving the Jets. I think they're starting to get proven wrong, and we will just be able to ride that out through the entire season. He's not even going to be the Panthers starting quarterback next year because he's not that good of a quarterback. And I don't root for guys to not like be good players, but when people are as passionate about him being a good player as they were, it feels good to be proven right when they're as wrong as they have been. So that's where I'm at. Those are my losers of the week. Who are your losers of the week?
My losers of the week are the Cleveland Brown fans. Not just losing Nick Chubb. Now they lose Kareem Hunt for multiple weeks. And
so are you saying they're losers because their players got injured? So
I think
just to be clear, you're not saying Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt are losers of the week, right? We gotta be clear about that.
Yeah.
Right?
So here, let me clarify that. I'm saying they're losers because they're gonna lose because they don't have Nick Chubb, they don't have Baker Mayfield, and they don't have Kareem Hunt. They are that franchise. Like, I know Buffalo gets a lot of slack at one of the bottom franchises, as they want to call it, but there is nobody who has that bad luck as the Cleveland Brown fans do. There is no franchise, and so for that sake, this week Case Keenum is starting. No, I don't know if Nick Chubb's going to play. No Kareem Hunt. That team is a run-first team, and I think they are the losers of the week because I don't know what is going to happen in Cleveland after this year.
Yeah, that is very fair, especially considering all the hype that there was. Like, they were one of the teams that was being picked for the Super Bowl, and I think that was like deservingly so after what we saw last year, the way their ground game works, some of the additions, and people could say like, well, no, they just aren't as good of a team. They still had talent all over the roster. Yeah. So they just got struck with injuries.
I'm not saying the Cleveland Brown fans are losers. I'm saying
say it with your chest, as Rico likes to say. Say it with your chest, man. You call them losers. Do it. Go ahead. Look, I'll take the brunt of this. I'm the one who lives in Ohio. Yeah. I have friends who are Browns fans. Yeah. Sure, they're not going to listen to this because this is a Bills show and not a Browns show. Yeah. But if they ever find out that somebody that is my co-host was saying they're losers, I'll back you up on that.
I don't think the fans are losers. I think the franchise is just a losing franchise, no matter what they are. I don't think Baker Mayfield is the answer. I think Chubb and Hunt are great, but like
Chubb and who?
Huh?
Chubb and who? Just repeat that again. Say Hunt. Make sure you say Hunt.
I did say Hunt.
Okay.
Did I not say Hunt?
You may have added his the first letter of his first name in there beforehand. So you may or may not have said that.
Hunt.
That's just the way it sounded.
Hunt and Chubb. And I don't think Baker Mayfield, like you're talking about Sam Darnold, there's another quarterback that I don't think is the answer. And I think
they're different quarterbacks because I do think Baker Mayfield's a starting level quarterback. He's a starter worthy quarterback, but I would agree that he's going to have everything go right around him for him to be a Super Bowl level quarterback.
Yeah. He just doesn't have that. He doesn't have that. That thing that like I think like guys like Lamar and Allen and that little
like superstar talent. Yeah, no, he doesn't have that.
So the Cleveland Browns fans are losers because they believe in him.
All right, there we go. Cleveland Browns fans, they're Manny's enemy. All right. That's going to wrap up everything from last week, but we still have, since it is the bye week, we thought what a better time to do mid-season awards. And I guess we could probably do this again because we're doing this after week 6. Yeah. So it's like a third of the season awards at this point. Yeah. So we're going to do MVP, offensive player of the year, defensive player of the year, so on and so forth. I don't think we need too much explaining because we are already at 45 minutes and we do still have to get our bets in. Yeah. So I'll run through mine real quick.
Sure.
And then you can do yours. Obviously, Casey's not going to be a part of this because Casey is the loser of the week for missing the show. Yeah. And you could tell him I said that.
All over America.
But all right, so for MVP, I'm going to be honest. I'm struggling between three people. I'm going to give you the three that I'm thinking of, and I think they all make sense.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott, Kyler Murray, and I have to put Derrick Henry in there because where would the Titans be without him? He is the workhorse that makes that offense and that team go.
Yeah.
And we all just saw firsthand. I mean, you have to have those big games like that on a national stage to win MVP. You're never going to win MVP if you don't have those big games on a primetime game. He's the type of guy who has multiple of those a year.
Yeah.
He has the chance to play himself into that. He's going to have some good luck with quarterbacks kind of fizzling out. But if he keeps up the run that he's on, he definitely has the opportunity to win it. I think at the moment, though, you have to go with Kyler Murray. He's just been playing so well this year, and his team is 6-0. So when you have a team that's been playing as well as they have, and they're led by a quarterback who's put up good numbers, like it's not like he's been carried by his team. He's putting in the work. He's the one leading this team. I think he's the guy I would go to first. Then I would say Dak. Then I would say Derrick Henry. But those would be my top three at the moment. So I would have Kyler Murray winning it. I think Derrick Henry wins Offensive Player of the Year because if he doesn't win MVP, that they're just going to have to give the award to him. Defensive Player of the Year, you could make an argument, I think, for multiple players. The guy I'm going with right now is Trayvon Diggs, though. Dude is playing out of his mind for a defense that we did not think was going to be very good. And I mean, the run that he's on, 7 picks in 6 games, plus 2 touchdowns already, just absolutely insane. I got Jamar Chase is my offensive rookie of the year. I've seen some things saying Mac Jones or other guys. I just don't know how you pick anyone other than Jamar Chase. He's been a top 10 wide receiver in the league, not just top 10 rookie so far. He's just been absolutely out of his mind, especially coming from the fact that people thought he couldn't catch a football in the NFL before the season started. All of that obviously has been shut down now. Defensive rookie of the year, a couple of weeks ago, I thought it was going to be Asante Samuel, and he could play himself back into it because he started the season hot. But there's another guy who started the season hot also and has kind of continued that run, and it's Micah Parsons for the Cowboys. He's been another reason their defense has been so good is the emergence of him as just an athlete on the team. Not like he said it, I don't have a position. I'm a positionless player, and he's going to have to pick a position for his sake. Hopefully it ends up being a defensive end. But he can play linebacker. He could be an edge rusher. He could do whatever the team needs him to do because he's just a freak athlete. He's been all over the field. He would be my defensive player of the year. Comeback player of the year, I don't think there's any argument whatsoever. It's Dak. As long as he plays throughout the entire year, he's going to win the award. And then coach of the year at the moment, I think it has to be Cliff Kingsbury. There's other guys who could play there, who could like get their team to the level where they get there. But in my opinion, with coach of the year, you have to be a coach where you haven't been at this level yet. When you look back at the history of the award, most of the coaches that have won it, they won it because the expectation for the team either wasn't there before the season and they kind of came out of nowhere, or the team wasn't good or that good in previous years. And this team is just absolutely rolling right now. I still don't know if I fully believe in them as a true Super Bowl contender, but you don't have to be a true Super Bowl contender to win coach of the year. And at the moment, that team is doing things that they have not done in years past, and they're playing complete games like they have not done in years past. So those are my awards. What are yours?
So I got so with MVP, I struggled too between 3 players. Actually, 4 players I struggled with. I had Joey Burrow, who I think has been MVP.
That's out of nowhere. Okay.
Yeah,
interesting.
I think he's been a key part of that success in Cincinnati, and I think Cincinnati might surprise them this year. I think it could be a surprise team. Obviously, Derrick Henry, we already saw that this week, and then obviously Kyler Murray, he's playing unreal. But I'm agreeing with you. Like I put him as number 1 is Dak Prescott. What he's come from and what he's doing this year, and how much he means to that franchise, and he is definitely the MVP right now for me.
Look, another guy, real quick, another guy that I think could be on that list and could play his way in there is Lamar Jackson. Obviously, Josh Allen could play his way in there too.
Yeah,
like Josh Allen is right up there Tom Brady is right up
Matt
there.
Stafford
But when I'm
as
looking
well.
at all of it, the way teams are playing and everything, yeah, that's okay. So just wanted to throw that out there too.
Yeah.
Josh Allen is very much in the running for MVP.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. He would not be my pick right now, but he is very much in the running for MVP.
Yep. Offensive player of the year, Derrick Henry. What he's doing
Yeah, I
this
think
year,
yeah.
like he's just dominating the rushing this year. So he's without a choice. I didn't even have to think twice about that one.
Yeah, I think that was probably the easiest pick
yeah.
out of every single one of them, followed by, for me, maybe offensive rookie of the year. But yeah, those two were probably the easiest choices I could personally have had.
For defensive player of the year, I kind of agree with you. There's a lot of guys that kid like TJ Watt, Miles Garrett, they all been really good. But Trayvon Diggs has been unreal. It helps that he's on my fantasy team. So
you notice it a little bit more?
I'd notice it a little bit more, but he's been lights out this year. Every game. And speaking of game changer, there's a game changer for you.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how long he can roll the interception streak into. Yeah.
So he's my defensive player of the year, which is same as yours. For defensive rookie of the year, I have Micah Parsons as well. I agree with you. This guy, he's exactly what Dallas needed at that spot. And like you said, I didn't honestly know that he could play that multiple positions. For me, he was always just a linebacker. That's how I saw him in college. He was a linebacker. But to see him be like the defense able to put him in different spots on the field just makes him such a more threat. And he's when I talk about noticeable, like you watch
he stands out.
He stands out.
Yeah.
The last time I saw a linebacker like him stand out is the one in Tampa Bay.
Devin White Devin White. Yeah.
Yeah. And so Devin White was the last one that stands out, and he kind of reminds me of that. So he's been really good this year. So he's my defensive rookie of the year. My offensive rookie of the year, without a doubt, like whoever says Mac Jones or Trevor Lawrence or anybody, like, what have you been watching?
Just
like
a big old thumbs down.
Yeah, Jamar Chase has been the clear. Like right now, it's not even close where Jamar Chase is. So he is my offensive rookie of the year. Comeback player of the year, I give it co-winners because I think the two guys that have had that bad injuries, which is Joey Burrow and Dak Prescott, what they've done and what they've come back to, both of them are MVP candidates for me, just of what they went through last year and what they're doing this year already, only into 6 weeks. And my coach of the year, like you said, a team that surprises you. And for me, it's Cincinnati. The defense is playing great.
That's fair.
Offense is playing great. Zach Taylor has been doing something that's working in Cincinnati right now. I know they got a key game this week against Baltimore, but right now where they're at, for me, he's the coach of the year.
Yeah, that's I think that's fair. That's one of those ones where if they keep playing the way they are, then he's definitely going to be in the running for that because there was definitely not expectations there. All right, give us your 5 best bets. I'll run through mine, and then Casey did text his in, so I'll run through his real quick before we end the show too. So run through yours though.
Sure. So I'm gonna go with you know what? I always forget. I never write the team down, the team they're facing. So I got, first of all, Miami money line. So I am going with the Dolphins against the Falcons. I think Tua coming back, seemed a little bit of chemistry with Waddle and in that last game, and then Gesicki's there. The defense, whatever. I'm sure it will smash me in the mouth, but Atlanta right now has nothing. but I don't know if Ridley's coming back yet or if he is. I haven't heard anything, so that's That's my first one. So Miami money line. Then I got Green Bay -8. So Green Bay -8 versus Washington football team. I think Washington has it's a weird defense. Like they're a good defense, but like for some odd reason they allow the most points for a defense.
They seem like they should be a good defense.
Yeah,
but they're just not.
Yeah, there's something weird about that defense, and I think Aaron Rodgers, if he owns the Chicago Bears, he's going to own the Washington pretty soon too. So -8 there. Then I got New Orleans at -4.5. And New Orleans is playing Seattle Seahawks on Monday night. Yeah, Geno Smith. That's all I have to say.
Okay.
No Chris Carson. No Chris Carson. No Russell Wilson. It's Geno trying to throw to Lockett and Metcalf. I think New Orleans with Kamara and company, they have enough. And their defense is horrible. Seattle's the worst defense. As my brother-in-law, who's a diehard Seahawks fan, would say.
Mm-hmm.
I got Carolina, speaking of Sam Darnold and not being a good quarterback, I got Carolina coming -3 against the Giants. Again, I think the Giants, if the injuries didn't happen, maybe it'd be different, but I think Carolina's defense is surprisingly pretty good. And I think this is...
And they have Stephon Gilmore this week, too.
Yeah, and I think this is his first game at MetLife, so as a visitor opponent. So I'm sure he wants to make a statement game there, even though it's against the Giants, not the Jets. So that's my other one. Finally, believing in Cincinnati, I'm taking Cincinnati money line. That's my risky pick.
Oh, wow. Money line. Okay.
So I'm saying that they win against the Baltimore Ravens. And
all right.
That's just my risky pick. I like what Burrow and Chase have. I like CJ Uzma.
CJ Uzoma, yeah.
Yeah, he's been really good this year.
He's been balling for them.
Yeah, the O-line looks good. They're protecting him. And the defense has been surprisingly really good. They've been decent. So I think Baltimore, I know Baltimore is good, and Baltimore's going to be a playoff team. But, Cincinnati could be that dark horse team this year.
They definitely could be. I think they're going to be in the running for a playoff spot. All right. I'll give Casey's real quick because I don't have much explanation from him. Obviously, he just sent in his picks. He has Seattle covering 5.5. He has the Colts covering 4. And the Colts are playing – let me double check this. Colts are playing the 49ers, so covering 4 against the 49ers. Mm-hmm. He has the Buccaneers covering 12.5, and they're going up against the Bears. Yeah. So that's a fairly large spread, but also I get it, going up against a rookie quarterback. You're betting on Tampa Bay's offense kind of bouncing back after last week and just destroying them.
They're also the lowest scoring team per game. So
the Bears.
I think so, yeah.
That would make sense with everything. The Raiders, he has the Raiders covering 3 against the Eagles, and he has the Pats covering 7 against the Jets. And that one makes so much sense that it's on mine also. I didn't get it at 7, though. I have it at 7.5. I would like 7 a little bit better, obviously, because it's just one touchdown. Gives you a better chance to obviously have just the 1 touchdown buffer instead of having it be a 2-score buffer. But the Patriots covering 7.5 against the Jets, who the Jets have they're getting better. They have been better than obviously the first couple weeks of the season.
Yeah.
But I don't care that they're coming off a bye week. I don't care about any of that. Yeah. They're going into New England. It's a rookie quarterback playing against a Bill Belichick-led team, led defense. I think there's just going to be a lot of problems like we saw the first time around. I don't think the game is going to be really close. So I got the Patriots covering 7.5. I'm with you that the Bengals are going to be good this week. I think they're going to continue to be good, but I do think they catch an L. I think they keep it close, though. I think they cover a 6-point spread against the Ravens. I like the way the Bengals are playing. I like the offense, especially against a Ravens team that I know we saw last week. Their defense kind of started to pop. But I really like what this Bengals team is doing, and I think the Bengals will be able to just keep it close. Not win, but keep it close. So I got them covering a 6-point spread. I think the Dolphins hit their low point of the season last week. I don't think it can get much worse than it got for them to lose to the Jaguars. Like they should not have. I know they're a bad team, but they should not have lost to the Jaguars.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have allowed that to happen. And they're playing another team that's just not very good. Yeah. I don't think you have your low point in the season and then follow it up with another loss. I don't believe in the Dolphins as a team, but I do believe that they're going to be able to cover the 2.5-point spread against the Falcons. And then I have the Chiefs and the Titans over 57 points. That's a lot of points.
Yeah.
But this is also two defenses that are not great and two offenses that can put up points in a hurry.
Yeah.
Obviously, we saw that this past week.
Yeah.
With both teams. I mean, the Chiefs put up a lot of points in the second half. They probably could have hung 50 on the football team if they really played their best game in the first half. And then the Titans, we all know, like they can go on extended drives. They can have those scoring drives, but their defense is still susceptible. So I think this is a game where you could see a lot of points. My last best bet, though, is the Rams covering against the Lions. It's a massive spread. This is also a week where there's a couple of big spreads.
Yeah.
But I think this is the largest spread of the week. I have it at 15 right now. I don't think they're in the same class. I think this is Matthew Stafford giving the old middle finger to his old team.
Yeah.
In Detroit, I didn't ever get a chance to win there. I put up great numbers. I was great. But now I'm on a team that is also great. And here's what I'm going to do to you. And I think they win this game by 3 or 4 scores. I don't think it's ever even close. This is a difficult bet, though, because we've seen the favorites have been the teams that have generally won the last couple weeks. At some point, there's got to be one of those crazy wins. I'm betting on the fact that it's not going to be the Lions finding a way to beat the Rams or even come close, because I think the Rams are that good of a team.
Yeah.
I think it's going to come from one of those other large spread games this week. So that's where we're at. Those are our best bets. Those will get posted everywhere. You can track them. And just as a follow-up to that, we are keeping our records. Last week, all 3 of us went 2-3. Wasn't our best week, but you're going to have weeks like that. We're going to have weeks that are down weeks. Overall, right now, Manny, you're sitting at 4-6. I am sitting at 5-5. Casey's sitting at 6-4. It's anybody's ball game in this race. So we will see how this goes the rest of the season.
Yeah, we're all one game apart from winning the championship. So
yep,
and definitely both of us don't want Casey to win, because
I don't want Casey to win at all. Honestly, I don't want to see either of you guys win. I want to win all of mine. I want to see you guys win your bets, but honestly, I don't want to see you win more bets than me.
Yeah,
if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah. Well,
I'm rooting for you guys also.
I win in colorful Canadian dollars, so that's not even worth that much. As you guys. So even if I win, I'll still lose.
Hey, you said it, not me. You said it, not me. All right, Manny, let me get a go Bills, and that's how we'll close it out.
Okay, go Bills.
Go Bills.